But then we had Fire Safe Montana. Okay, and there was a group of, I don't know, 10 or 12 of us who kind of got that thing going. And that's all about how do you build appropriately for living in the WUI? How do you clear your property? How do you use the right construction materials so that fire doesn't want to burn? It doesn't want to take out houses left and right.
Have you all heard of this resolution that Wilson Clark County and Broadwater County and Jefferson County have come up with? Anybody has heard of that resolution?
Yeah. Oh, cool.
It started with that Yarnell fire. My wife and I were listening to the radio and some of the reports from that, and she turned to me with tears in her eyes and said, you know, we lost 19 good men for sticks and bricks. And I thought, you know, that's enough. Enough is enough. And I wrote a paper, titled that, and it was picked up pretty much by the Fire Safe Montana. I developed I put together a three-pronged approach to that and presented it to the Lewis and Clark Rural Fire Council, of which one of our county commissioners is a member. And he took that and took it to the county commission and unanimously put together this resolution and unanimously approved it. Since then we have the similar resolution approved unanimously by Broadwater County and Jefferson County. Looks like the city of Helena is going to do the same thing right soon.
Just one variation on the resolution that I've heard somebody make, I think Bob Much was one of them, but it is when addressing residents of the wildland-urban interface and they're wondering, well, gee, do I really need to do anything to my place? You know, somebody says, well, lay a little guilt trip on them. You know, your place, if somebody comes in here to protect it, they're risking their lives. How would you feel about having one or two or more firefighters die trying to protect your place? And we can't guarantee that won't happen if you don't clean it up, because, you know, yeah, the regulation is, yeah, they're not supposed to be coming in here because you have such a narrow road and you haven't done anything. But they might come in here anyhow to try to protect your place, and they might die. How are you going to feel about that? You know, I mean, I think we need to lay it on some of these reluctant people a little harder.
And I can tell you that's worked in my community. Because our people saying, no, we haven't cleaned it up, don't go in there. In fact, we're going to put a tree across the road so nobody can get in there until we do get it cleaned up. So they are very conscious of the firefighters.
Okay.
Years ago, I decided to build my cabin so it would be fire safe, and I had shale landscaping instead of bark mulch, and I put on a metal roof to keep the embers from burning a shake roof down when a fire comes, and I put my propane tank over 50 feet away from my place to keep it out of harm's way. And I guess I also put on a Trex deck.
And you've cleared so much around here. The thinning here has been tremendous. Granted, you had to do it because of the beetle kill, but you're not going to get the ferocity of fire in here that normally you would have seen. As a firefighter, you know, as a fire officer, I would not have a problem with sending a crew in here to babysit this. You've done the work, and all they have to do is make sure that the little things that happen, a little ember that falls on a little bit of litter near the house that starts a little bit of flame, they'll be here. But I feel good about leaving them here because they're not in danger. They can handle this. This is safe for them.
Yeah, you brought up a really interesting point. We used to call it defensible space, but after fires like Yarnell and others, we know that what it really permits for the firefighter is survivable space. That if the firefighter is here, that the space is actually survivable by a human being, in addition to providing a safe kind of fire behavior scenario where they can effectively fight fire. I tell you what I learned in 2012 when our district was threatened by the Mustang fire, Alan, that 350,000 acre fire that came at us out of the Salmon River. And what I realized then, as I started looking around my property again in the middle of the fire season, you're never done preparing. it's a work in progress. And I did a little more weed whacking, and I looked up on my roof and realized even though it's a metal roof, there were a lot of pine needles up there. So I got the pine needles off the roof, and it's just the constant maintenance and upkeep kind of mentality to keep you out of harm's way.